I'm Mark Saxton,
I'm Joey Cundiff.
and this is Blue Collar Sports Talk. And I hope you guys enjoyed your Sunday because it is time to talk some shit.
Now, you might be asking, why aren't we drinking right now? Well, it's because it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Got a little nooner for you boys.
Got a little nooner, a little afternoon delight.
Gotta love it. We changed up so the light source would work, We're doing stuff for you guys.
We're making changes at the line.
That's right. Now we're going to move it. We're going to go back a little bit because we skipped Friday. We had a busy week. Lots of stuff going on. But Thursday night, I picked the Lions. You picked the Packers. What happened?
We got our asses kicked. I mean, it is what it is. We got the score, even though it says we're down by 14, I feel like it was way further.
It was.
We got embarrassed, in my opinion. A lot of people wanted to point fingers. Just to get into all that, I'll go over some stats for you real quick. So we'll start with the winning side. Goff, 19 of 28, 210 yards, a tutty and a pick.
And the pick came within the first 2 throws and giving you guys instant red zone pressure.
And that pick generated absolutely zero momentum for the Packers, and that's what started the downfall.
Gave you 3 points.
Yep. Montgomery had a night, 32 carries, 121 yards, 3 tutties. Reynolds for them, 3 receptions, 69 yards. Now, here's my problem. This is where it's going to get interesting. So Love, 23 of 36, 246 yards, a tutty, and not one but 2 mistakes. Aaron Jones, 5 carries, 18 yards, and I'm going to touch on that a whole lot. Romeo Doubs, 9 receptions, 95 yards. I feel like some of those yards just didn't matter. There was a clock issue everybody wanted to bitch and moan about. Ended up not mattering.
But if it did,
I wouldn't have blamed the Lions at all.
No,
and I don't understand how it was not reviewable.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. I think
he clearly snapped the ball now. The only thing I could think of is if the ref's watch on his hand was different than what was on the screen.
Yeah.
Because what was on the screen, it hit 0. It was like a solid second, I felt like.
Yeah.
Then they hiked the ball. Then they threw it downfield.
And if you guys have watched any football, you know that clock is always an issue because play clocks get confused all the time. Sometimes they start at 14 and you see them trying to pump it up. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
Well, and another thing with the game clock and stuff on the TV, same as the yellow lines, they're not the official ruling. That being said, I still think it should have been reviewable. I still think they should have taken a second look, even though it benefited my team.
It's just the most Lions thing to happen,
Yeah.
A play that shouldn't counted. You hear about that every fucking year for the Lions.
Now, getting into the nitty and gritty. So once again, 34-20. Okay. I think the Packers, let me just double check this stat, but I think the Packers ran a total of 8 times that whole night. Let me just do this real quick here. So, I'm sorry. They ran 12 times total for a total of 27 yards. This falls on LaFleur for me.
And Aaron Jones had 2 rushes in the first half.
And the next 3 carries, they started making some momentum in the third quarter. I understand the need to make Love the focal point of the offense, especially at this point of the juncture that we're at. However, the focal point needs to be the whole offense, in my opinion, because he focused on Love throwing the ball so much that he just ran away from the run game.
Yeah.
Completely sprinted in the opposite direction of the run game. I'm a firm believer, to control the game, you got to live and die with that run game.
Yep.
You ran it 12 times. The main running back for the Lions that night ran it 32. Time of possession was definitely an issue. The defense was on the field all night long, and you're not going to win. We've seen this millions of times in football. You're not going to win if your defense is countlessly on the field.
Yep.
I don't understand what LaFleur doesn't understand about that. On top of not running the ball, there were plenty of times where 2nd and long, 2nd and 21, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 17, and he's throwing long.
Yeah, you got backed up in the count and in the downs, and it was a bad game. It was a terrible performance. But something we did have, we had a Quay Walker sighting again.
I was going to get to that. So, first and foremost, they ran away from the run game. They weren't able to control the ball. They weren't able to control the clock. They weren't able to control the game. Now, my hat's off still to the Lions. You got to tip your cap to them. They had a good game. They controlled the ground. Goff looked good. Had one mistake. Didn't end up haunting them at all. And if we're being honest, why try and throw the ball when your run game was working so well?
Right.
Or the check down.
Right.
So good on the Lions. Defensively, they were getting beat by the run, by the check down throw, and they made zero adjustments. It didn't make any sense to me. Now, towards the end of the game, we had a chance. We would have only been down by 10 should this field goal have went through, which it ended up going through. So we'd have been down by 10 with 6 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 6-7 minutes.
And
still a tough comeback, but it's doable.
Yeah, I'm not saying, by no means am I saying this was a promise win for the Packers. But like you just said, it's possible. It's more possible than going down 17.
Mm-hmm.
Quay Walker, instead of just letting them get the 3, I don't know what the hell he tried to do, to be honest with you.
It makes no sense. Jump over the long snapper.
And it's not, it's not a new thing. Like, it's nothing to adjust to. It's been there.
That's just coaching and decision making.
What does he do? Jump over the snap, give him another opportunity to score. They wasted more time on the clock, and they scored on top of it all.
What I think is more embarrassing is he managed to do that, which is illegal. You can't do it. And he still didn't block the field goal.
Yeah. He cheated, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Yeah. Nope, completely agreed. In my opinion, a complete failure of a game. And if they don't learn from it, it's going to be a rough year.
Now, I do have something interesting. So, a regular season, you play 17 games.
Right.
Jordan Love now has 14 games played in his career. So, almost an entire season, okay? I'm going to read out some stats for you. 57.7% completion. That is entirety, okay? Right. That is coming in the third quarter when Aaron Rodgers was hurt or whatever happened against the Eagles. He has 1,500 yards, which is not terrible. 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That, with the 57% completion rating, it's not great, but it gets worse. He almost has the same amount of turnovers. He has 9 turnovers to total, 9 turnovers to 13 total touchdowns. Total. So he is almost a 500 player in terms of scoring and giving the ball up. He's got to clean it up. And I've been impressed with some of his pocket presence and his deep ball ability.
Especially in that Saints game.
But you're gonna have to start completing more passes. Like at some point, like you gotta create high percentage throws for Jordan Love throughout the whole game, not just the first quarter or not just the last 2 quarters. This is something that has to start being consistent, where you have those checkdowns, where you have just find somebody in the flag, do small curl route. Let's not get crazy, because when I'm watching these Packers games, it is long ball, long ball, long ball, long ball.
Now, just to touch on that a second. And I know it sounds like I'm going to make a monumental excuse for Love, but it's not intended. I think a lot of that has to do with the play call.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is give him something to make completions with.
We'll look at it like this. Against that Saints game, there were a lot of high percentage passes he was throwing and he was making.
Towards the end of the game, though.
Right, in the fourth quarter. Right. But the first 3 quarters, same thing.
Yep.
Now, even against the Bears, right? Same thing. First half, not shaky by any means, but definitely not sharp, right? Get towards the end of the game, you get him a momentum, you get him a run game, you get him, a check down game, and then he's able to open it up deep. I think this falls on LaFleur.
Yeah.
And like I said, I understand the need to get Love in the game and get him comfortable, and I understand all that. But it needs to be about the entire offense. And I truly think if you give this kid a chance to open up the playbook, and by that I mean starting with the run game, getting creative with the run game, getting creative with the checkdowns and the screens, that'll open up downfield.
Yep. Because right now you don't win games throwing 50%. Like, you really don't.
Unless your defense is what the
85
Cowboys
Bears.
defense was
Yeah.
on week 1
Yeah.
or the 85 Bears. Yeah.
Week 1, week 2, week 4.
Right. So for me, LaFleur better figure it out, and the coordinators better get in line and maybe get a grasp. I don't know who's calling the plays. I don't know if LaFleur is taking 5 plays from the coordinator and picking them. Something needs to change.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, something that also needs to change is we have Jaguars versus Falcons in London. I'm not waking up 6 a.m. to watch this game.
Mostly because I'm staying up Saturday night drinking beers.
That's right. And
like any good American shit.
It's the only way to have it. But these London games, I don't like them because you're going to be jet lag going there, and then you're going to be jet lag coming back. And Jaguars played 2 games in London back to back, so they beat the Falcons 23-7 pretty handily. I mean, the Falcons,
I expected it a little bit closer. Not that.
I kind of did, but Desmond Ridder, I think, is coming to an end. Teammates were not happy with him on the bench.
Visibly,
yeah,
not happy.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Falcons are going to be in the Kirk Cousins trade talks coming up this year or next year, because this is Kirk's last year. So that could be something to watch for. But the Jaguars next week against the Bills in London have a huge advantage of being able to stay in London. They don't have to make that flight. Like, I don't know. I don't like the international games. I really don't.
Neither do I. Understand the need to try and spread the game of football. Maybe do it during the preseason.
Have the XFL do it.
Yeah, that too. Why not?
That could be your experimental. Let's see how this works. Let's see if they sold. There's a lot of seats sold, but it's not. I don't think the players really even like it.
No, and the thing for me too is you got to remember how a lot of Americans laugh at soccer is how most of that entire island laughs at football.
Yeah.
And they don't because in their minds they don't need football because they've got rugby. There's no pads.
Yeah.
It's rough as hell.
Yeah.
And it's in some ways more exciting.
Right, and it has basically the same features as football.
Right.
Now, I do think the only international game that I wouldn't mind is in Mexico.
Yeah, it's right there.
It's right there. You don't have to change time zones except from east to west.
Yep.
That's it. It's not 6 a.m. I don't know. I don't like them, and I'm curious on what players actually think. Moving on, Mark called this one. Dolphins got destroyed by the Bills.
Now, to be fair, I did not expect this to be a blowout.
No.
I expected a 3.5 spread for in favor of the Bills. Okay, but I mean, Diggs doing his thing. Allen not only in the air but on the ground doing his thing.
That defense.
Big game. Gabe having a game.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense ultimately keeping everybody in check. It was almost too easy for me.
And it's scary because the Bills. I think everybody wrote off the Bills week 1 when they lost against the Jets, but this is a huge showing for the Bills.
Agreed.
But now the Dolphins definitely look beatable. Because
Right.
at first, how are you going to beat somebody that's putting up 70 points and stopping themselves from scoring more? It's just I'm glad there's kryptonite that we found.
right. It definitely changed the narrative that the Dolphins were just going to run over everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you have a pulse on defense, they can be beat.
Right. And they did a good job at pressuring Tua.
Yeah.
They did a good job at stuffing the run. And they did a good job when they did give up big plays, they didn't give up 6 every time.
Right. Yeah.
That's what you want out of your defense.
Yep. And I thought it was going to be I knew it was going to be a high-scoring game. The first quarter indicated that, but then the Dolphins just kind of stopped scoring.
Yeah.
But let's move it on to America's Game of the Week.
Which
Broncos get their first win against the Bears. Now, Justin Fields looked elite.
Looked good. Yeah, he looked good.
Elite. And then he decided...
The first 3 quarters.
Yeah, and then he decided to have that fumble 6 and then the interception to lose the game. I think this is Justin Fields' last year as a Bear.
And here's what doesn't make sense to me is that last interception. Now, trust me, I understand being in the position, your back's against the wall, your pocket's collapsing, you're doing anything to just try and win the game. Sometimes I think that the people are too hard on quarterbacks in that situation.
Yeah, but they were in field goal range.
Exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. They were in the red zone. Well, they were knocking on the door of the red zone, and they had time on the clock. And if I remember correctly, I think they had a timeout. Basically, what I'm saying is that throw didn't need to be made in that situation, and he chose to throw it anyway. Yep. But this has been a reoccurring problem
where you just can't win a game.
Right. Well, I'm talking about for Fields.
Yeah.
It's been a reoccurring problem for him where he makes these nonsense throws.
Yep.
And it's just, fuck, I could go do that. I could go throw nonsense throws for fucking however much he's making.
But you can't run like he can.
No, hell no. I can run my mouth like he can run his legs. That's about it.
Well, the Bears still searching for their first win, and I think we're going to see another winless team if this stays. Because this was, I looked at their schedule. This was the most winnable game. Ravens, Browns. I picked the Browns to win, but I woke up late, a little hungover, did not see that Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play. Seeing that news, I would have 100% changed my pick, but it is what it is. It's my fault.
I chose the Ravens. I didn't know that Deshaun wasn't playing either because I, too, woke up a little late, little hung. But I did. Even that being said, when I did watch the game and I noticed he wasn't playing, I didn't think the Ravens were going to run away with it like this.
No. The Browns' defense is just that good, and then it kind of got exposed towards the end. Well, the Ravens have been playing this kind of ball all year where it's too close to start, and then
they kind of just find a way to keep the opposite defense on the field.
Yep, and then they just ultimately start running away with it. I don't think the Ravens are elite. I don't see it. I think this isn't a sustainable way.
I mean, if we're being honest, if the Browns and the Bengals keep their shit up, they might win the North, though.
Yeah. I don't think they're elite, but I do think they're going to win the North at this rate because you don't have to be elite to beat the Bengals, the Browns, or the Steelers right now.
Yeah, the Steelers' offense is just not there.
Nope, and we're going to talk about that next with Steelers putting up 6 points against the Texans.
Let me ask you this: are the Steelers fake and the Texans for real and C.J. Stroud for real, or do you think the Steelers will even this out somehow?
Well, I've been saying this. I don't trust Kenny Pickett. I didn't understand because he got just about the same amount of hype as Justin Fields did this offseason. I didn't see it. I really didn't.
I get the hype of the defense. For the Steelers, for sure.
And that's one of the reasons why I keep picking them in games is because their defense is that good.
Or supposed to be.
And I mean, what did you think that you watched the majority of this game? Like, is C.J. Stroud the next best quarterback? Is he going to be the next Joe Burrow? Because Joe Burrow is burrowed right now. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know if he's going to be the next greatest quarterback, but I do know that he's the quarterback right now for the Texans. Any naysayers? I was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can be put in check, and I think he's proven that he could play the game against a high defense.
Yep.
And not only that, but he handled them.
Yeah, without a pick.
Check this out. I just wanted to throw this out there because I wanted to talk about it. 16 of 30. That's just over 50%. On 30 passes, though, not bad. I didn't get to watch the majority of his passes. I was flipping back and forth. But 306 yards and 2 tutties.
On 13 completion. Or 16?
Yeah, 16 completions.
16. Yeah, he's making passes, and they're counting.
They're not cheap. Collins, 7 receptions and 168 yards with 2 of them things.
Yep, had him on my other fantasy league. He helped me.
I mean, I think the Texans. I don't think they're going to win anything great this year, but I think this is what you build on. This is it. This is what you hang your hat on. And I think if you're a Texan fan, you're going back to the Schaub days, dude. Where you got a chance with the Andre Johnson, and you know what I mean.
Well, and the Jags aren't doing anything that impressive.
Well, they're not spectacular.
I really thought they were going to make a huge leap this year, and they're starting off slow.
And hey, I know we're going to talk about them soon, but the Colts too.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson is legit. If he stays healthy, if he can learn to slide and not take hits, it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, and you know.
And I'm glad all the crazy quarterbacks are staying in the AFC.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Keep that shit away from me, man.
Exactly. I need all the help I can get over here.
Yeah.
So no, I think Texans look great. I think they've got something to build on. And Steelers, I say in 2 weeks, if you haven't turned this around, it's time to hit the panic button.
Yeah, you got to start firing your coordinator. Matt Canada needs to go.
Yeah.
That terrible offense.
Yep.
Terrible. Vikings, Panthers. I don't know what's going on with the Vikings. I picked them to be second in the North. And at this rate, they still can't be. Like, the Packers, if they decide that they want to start playing offense, then they won't be a second place. But it's just something is wrong with the Vikings. Kirk keeps throwing red zone interceptions. And where is this? Why isn't this being talked about? Yeah, he's throwing a lot of yards and touchdowns, but
He's throwing key interceptions in key situations.
And I know their defense is bad, but you can't throw a 99-yard pick six.
Yeah, well, not only that, but you nailed it on the head. Their defense is bad. And that gives another reason that Cousins can't just be throwing the ball all willy-nilly wherever he wants. He should know the game starts and ends with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, they need to have like 75% control of the ball.
Yeah.
Like, possession of the ball. At the end of the day, if you don't have that, you're probably losing if you're the Vikings.
With
and
Madison and Cook, you gotta control that.
Well, Cook isn't there anymore.
No, it's James Cook or something like that.
No, James Cook is on the Bills.
What? Who's
They got Cam Akers.
That's right.
And there's no run game. Absolutely nothing. They squeaked it out against the Panthers. The Panthers are just not looking good at all. Now we go Rams-Colts. Overtime game. Rams look like
He called for the Rams. I called for the Colts. I was just going to ride on the high. You know what I mean? And listen, Richardson proved that he could play in this level by not getting shaky after being down, showing fight, and coming back and forcing. Now, I understand that they lost.
But that was huge.
Yeah, forcing an overtime.
Yeah. And then your defense just couldn't stop the Rams at the end.
Yeah.
And the Rams have found new life.
Yeah.
Their run game looks pretty decent now. Matt Stafford is showing flashes of back when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, look out.
And Cooper Kupp is going to be coming back to help Puka.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good luck saying that shit.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua. Gosh, it sounds like a spell that I'm about to cast.
Well, hey, that spell might work for LA.
It might. And then we got the Jameis Winston Bowl. Buccaneers Saints. Jameis Winston ended up not playing because Derek Carr came back. I thought Jameis was gonna play, so I picked the Saints. Again, woke up late. We got a bystander here. Sorry about that. Somebody was angry at us. Just didn't want us to talk about the Bucs and Saints, and Baker is looking decent.
I think he might have found his new home.
He might. I mean, the NFC South is weak, but it's a perfect division to have.
To make a comeback.
Yeah, to have Baker as your quarterback.
I mean, that's another multi-touchdown game for him.
And Derek Carr is looking like this might be a kind of a flashback to when the Broncos signed Russell Wilson. All the Saints fans were like, oh, this is it, winning the Super Bowl, or we're making a push, and it's not looking good.
That line hasn't been helping him either.
No.
So, and I was really rooting for Carr. I was a firm believer that it wasn't Carr, it was the Raiders.
Yeah.
I still feel that way. I would like to see some help on that line for Carr, because when he actually does get the help, he doesn't look bad. He's not making bonehead passes.
Right.
A couple of questionable ones, but
Right.
nothing crazy.
But if this keeps it up, if this stays the way that we're seeing, he is going to be lumped into that Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Because
and
it's
gonna be
unfair to Russell Wilson for him to be getting all this shit when that offensive line sucks. That defense this year sucks.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to start putting pressure on Derek
At
Carr.
least that Saint defense can hold its own when it's
Right.
not on the field all day.
Right. Because hey, Russell didn't put up 70 points.
No.
They were let up 70 points.
Right.
And now, I've been saying this all year. We move on to the Commies versus the Eagles. I knew the Commies were going to keep it close. I had a feeling that they were going to win, but I didn't want to pick them. Eagles ultimately won that in overtime. The Eagles do not look like they did last year.
With a comeback drive.
Yeah.
On the commie side.
Yeah.
That comeback drive was key, and I still think they made a mistake in not trusting Taylor. But Howell's not looking bad at all.
No. And I've been high on the commies, and now everybody's starting to be like, oh, the commies are going to be a sneaky playoff team. I called this. I watched it. I know what these guys are capable of doing. I do think Ron Rivera should have went for 2. You had all the momentum in the world. You were nonstop driving on the Eagles. End it there.
Yeah, but I don't blame him for going for the 1 and getting a new life.
Yeah, but they didn't stop the Eagles consistently in that whole fourth quarter.
Yeah, but you didn't know if you're going to get the ball or not.
No, I know, but
you
they
know what
did.
I mean?
But they did get the ball. They started off overtime with the ball.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking the Eagles. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, they did, and they end up. Yeah, I don't know. I see what you're saying. I don't disagree, but I'm also saying I don't disagree with going after the 1, sealing the tie.
I think if you're a better team, you go for the 1. I think if you're the commies going up against the Eagles, you go for 2, because there's not many more chances that you're gonna win that game.
Well, they ended up having a whole drive.
Right.
So.
Hindsight, though.
Yeah. And the Eagles, I just would like to add on. For some reason, I don't. It's like they click in 1 or 2 quarters. Now they've scored in mostly every quarter of every game.
Mm-hmm.
I think only 1 they didn't score in. It's just something is off. I feel like they don't quite have control, and I don't know if it's all on that offense or all on that defense. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Something's going on. And me and Joey were talking about it, and I'm going to tell you this. I think we're going to find out exactly who this Philly offense and defense is in the next couple of weeks. So, at the end of October, at the end of October, the middle of October, they have the Jets,
don't leave out the Rams.
The Rams, too. The Rams been showing something fierce. So, we got the Rams, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Commies again, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Niners, and then the Cowboys. That's 9 games of just stumbling, bumbling, fumbling, rough football.
Yeah, and you can't be playing like how you are right now against those 9 teams.
No.
Like, you really can't. But same goes for the Cowboys. You know, we can't have another F game because we have just about that same schedule coming up. We got Bills, Chiefs soon. And Niners. We got Niners next week.
Right.
So it's just going to be a battle of attrition. I do see the Eagles dropping at least 3 of those games.
Yeah, that's. Really I mean, you're going to find out. And then at the end of that stint, if they end up a 6-3 or a 7 and
and that'd be a win.
Yeah, 7-2 or something like that. Then okay, hey, look out.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't see. I'd feel better about that schedule if I was a Niners fan.
Yeah.
And they were, and I had that schedule as a Niner.
Yeah. No, I think something's wrong with the Eagles this year. I feel it. Now, I mean, this is just working out beautifully for us when we're talking about these subjects because somebody that I feel terrible for is the Bengals.
Yeah.
I think this season's over. I'm calling it now. They might make a push because the AFC North is a little weird.
Shaky.
But just sit Joe Burrow. Let him get healthy. That way you don't have
if that's even the issue. We don't know. What is going on? Joey B is not doing Joey B things.
The offensive line is awful.
Now Jamar Chase is getting pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins is he used to be that in a 1-2 combo. He used to be that 2 combo.
Yep.
And we're not even seeing a running game now. Granted, Mixon's gone. I understand, but we're not seeing anything from this Bengals team.
It's been terrible, like really bad. And if you're a Bengals fan,
you have a right to be pissed.
I think this one's a wash. I really think you sit Joe Burrow. Not because of his play, because of his play, but if he is really hurt, like they keep saying, I'd call this season over.
Yeah, and see for me, it's they're 1-3. I don't think it's over yet. I'm not gonna pull the plug yet. 2 weeks. I give you guys 2 weeks. Same as the Steelers. 2 weeks. Shit ain't fixed by then. Start hitting the panic button. Start making some changes. So for the Titans, you're just a weird football team. I don't understand.
You're bad but good.
Yeah, and you're good but you're terrible.
Yeah.
You got to figure shit out too because the way you're playing,
it's weird.
Yeah, I mean the AFC South once again not a very strong division, but I don't know.
I don't see the Titans winning that, but they could because they're so weird. And they got Derrick Henry. But they're weird. That's a weird team. I think if you were to completely rank teams, the Titans would be dead in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, there is no... Sometimes they're great, and sometimes they're terrible.
Right.
I don't understand the Titans at all. Now, before I get lost, I do want to talk. I'm not gonna go too crazy. Patriots, Cowboys. I was hearing.
Skipped one.
Did I? Let's see. Oh, Raiders,
Chargers.
Raiders, Chargers. That one was way closer than it should have
Fire Staley. Or if it's Kellen Moore, fire him. Once again, you find yourself in the same position you did in pretty much all 3 weeks. You have the lead late in the game, and you don't run the ball.
been.
And I've heard the excuse, well, we don't have Eckler. That's no excuse. You have to control the ball.
Yep.
Why is it 1st and 10, just over 4 minutes left, you're on your own 25, and you fucking heave it down the field 3 times in a row?
Yep.
Unnecessary. You deserve to lose that game because they got the ball back. You got a lucky pick. And if we're being completely honest,
This is a rookie quarterback.
O'Connell looked good.
He did.
Besides the one pick, 24 of 39, 238 yards, and the mistake.
Yep.
But he did his job. He let his run game control what they could. He made high percentage passes. I mean, like I said, the last pick, it was kind of rough. It was off to the flat. The DB dropped in and just happened to be there. Now, obviously, we all know you can't make that throw.
Right.
Now O'Connell knows, but it wasn't off the top of your head. You can't throw there kind of a play until you actually threw the
Right.
ball.
Yeah, and this Chargers team,
It's
they're
way better
than what they're producing.
Yeah.
They are playing like the Titans, but with a much better and more expensive roster.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing. If I was a Chargers fan, I'd be embarrassed right now because you have everything in place to win right now. And coaching is fucking it up. And your defense is playing like shit, to be honest.
Yeah, well-
Except for Khalil Mack yesterday. Before that, Khalil Mack was playing like shit.
But here's my thing, though. Here's my thing. And not that I disagree, because the defense has not produced what it's supposed to. But the defense has been doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
Your offense has the ball within the last 5 minutes of every ending game. You should win. You should be able to control that. But the defense has done their job. Now, obviously, we're saying they got to do better. Agreed.
Right.
But
It's been winnable every week for the Chargers.
and you fucked it off.
Yeah. Even though you won this one, it almost feels like a loss because you should have rolled the Raiders. And I understand Justin Herbert didn't have a great game, and he hurt his he dislocated his non-throwing hand, but
Well,
I mean,
there was a
there's-
couple of times where he was shocked on the
Yeah.
play call.
Yeah.
You could visibly see Herbert look to the sideline like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. The play calling is awful.
Staley needs to lose his job, and if it's Kellen Moore, he needs to go too.
Yeah.
Don't care what it is. Now, I don't know who their defensive coordinator is, but I'm willing to give him a chance because I feel some of the issues are there. The defense is rushed back onto the field due to
All
dumb
the time.
play calling.
Yeah. Now, Cowboys Patriots. This was, and a lot of people were saying this is a must-win for the Cowboys, and I agreed because after an F game performance, and you lost your starting cornerback, all in one, just like that.
All right.
You can't. You have to bounce back. If you lose, that snowballs.
Yeah. It's quicksand.
And I do believe that Sunday was a must-win in order to just right the ships. This is who we are. We don't lose to bad teams. We can't lose to bad teams. The Patriots aren't a bad team, but they're not a good team. Cowboys beat them 38-3. Mac Jones threw a pick six, had multiple interceptions.
So what's the deal with Mac Jones? Like, he's a dirty player, now he's not a good player. I don't.
Well, he is a dirty player.
But now he's not a good player on top. I used to think not that he was a good quarterback, but I'm like, okay, he could go sit in there and do some work if he needed to.
You're right.
And now I'm completely opposite. Who the hell is this guy anymore?
He's regressed so much, and instead of just regressing, he's regressing on top of becoming a dirty player.
Right.
You're not gonna be in the league much longer if this keeps up because nobody wants that. Like even like the nut tap, and he goes, "Well, that's football."
No.
Why the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah, because if it was football, then why did he try and hide it from the ref and then play victim when he got, you know what I mean?
And unless that's your boy, and it's like jokes like towel whips,
Right.
Don't touch another opponent. Like,
Yeah.
Don't fucking do that. You're not friends.
Or here's my thing: if you're gonna do it, by all means, expect to get jaw jacked, dog.
Yeah.
Like, don't come up shocked and, try and play the game in front of the ref. That's some pussy shit. Like, what are we doing?
Twisting ankles, and then that was last year, and
Right.
then he came up with his cleat at the groin. Like, you're just...
Well, he does that every time he goes down now.
He's a piece of shit, dude.
And we used to be his biggest fans.
Yeah, no, Mac Jones is turning into a piece of shit.
I don't know what's going on with you, Mac, but you need to change your ways, dog. This is how you want to be when Jesus come back?
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on. Like, you could be bad, and we'll defend you to an extent. But you can't be bad
and a prick. Yeah.
It's just, you're gonna fuck... I think he lost pretty much every fan he had.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of Mac Jones anymore. I'm really not.
No. You can't defend those actions.
No. Just piece of shit.
And then let me touch on this real quick. You did say that it was a must-win, and I understand what you meant by that. Me personally, with the Cowboys, obviously, with the Cowboys roster and everything that's going on for them, they shouldn't really lose very much.
Right.
For being honest. However, the way that I thought Bill Belichick's Patriots would have played against the Cowboys, for me, I'd have been like, okay, if you lose this one, you're okay, depending on the kind of loss, right?
Right.
Because I was expecting like a 15-12 or something stupid. You know what I mean? Their defense was non-existent.
Yep.
Your offense did what it needed to do,
yep.
and your defense complemented every drive, every counter drive.
Yep.
I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I don't think this says, oh, this is who we are or anything like that. But hey, it shows they can bounce back from a terrible loss. It shows that they're, no matter who's on the schedule, after a bad loss, they're coming back.
Right. Dak has only lost one back-to-back game since 2021.
So, and Dak, not one interception.
Yep.
Ran the ball well.
Should have had 2 touchdowns. The tight end dropped it in the end zone.
Right. Ran the ball well. 28-34. Come on.
Yeah.
It's almost flawless.
Yep.
So, and he was finding receivers that weren't typically the number one. You know what I mean? So, I say if you're the Cowboys, build on the momentum.
Yeah. No, it was a nice win, but it's definitely the next 2 weeks, Niners, Chargers. Those are going to be 2 big games determining who we are. Because if the Chargers, they can win these games.
Yeah. They just choose not to.
Right.
Well, Staley chooses not to.
Yeah, and speaking of the Niners, they beat the Cardinals. Christian McCaffrey, MVP.
Yeah.
Just
everybody thought he was done in Carolina, and he came over here and just never looked back.
And the Cardinals held up pretty well, and I would not be shocked. A new report came out about Kyler. They're not taking him off the PUP list, so I think he's done. And Dobbs isn't bad.
Here's I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm running with Dobbs.
I would too.
He's shown he can throw the ball. He's shown he can run the ball, and not stupidly.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't get beat up like some of these other guys running the ball. He doesn't make. There's some questionable decision making, but he doesn't make bonehead where you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Doesn't say anything bad too, because that's another thing
he's
with
just,
Tyler.
Like I've watched his TikToks and his social media. Dude, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and Kyler says wrong things now.
All the time. And Kyler doesn't give a fuck. Like Dobbs, who isn't a high money player, who just got released weeks prior from with the Titans, I think.
Yeah.
And he's coming in with such a great attitude, fully embracing the whole state of Arizona, and just this is the guy that you want. And Dobbs, I'm rooting for you, man. I think the Cardinals are terrible, but I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I think Kyler Murray's tenure in Arizona is just about done.
Yeah,
I really do.
Well, I would at least hope so. I would hate to see them shit on such a good dude who could make a solid career.
Yeah, he can, and if it doesn't work out, you'll have a high pick.
Yeah. So
you can get a top quarterback in the draft this year. Now, Chiefs, Jets, this one was way closer than expected. Patrick Mahomes played an F game, but still managed the win.
Well, that shit slide to not cover the spread.
Yeah.
Costing tens of millions of dollars across the nation.
Yeah. Way to go. Let's see here. There is some I want to touch on. So, Zach Wilson did have a phenomenal game. 28 of 39, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, and there was a fumble where the center snapped the ball. It hit Zach Wilson's thigh, the outer side of his thigh, not the inside where you can corral it, the outside. So you're catching the ball like this. Zach Wilson had his eyes downfield. When the ball's not where you're expecting it, you gotta look down. That is a mistake. But it wasn't his mistake. The center fucked up the snap. Kansas City jumped on the ball, iced the game. The commentators were going after Zach like, oh, that's a boneheaded mistake. You cost the game. No. Zach Wilson was the reason they were in that game. He played so well. I was shocked. They did get away from the run game, which was a little bit of an issue, but Zach Wilson was on point. They could have beat this Chiefs team. This Chiefs team is reminding me of the Eagles right now.
Yeah.
They are
Something's wrong.
not playing
Something's wrong.
well.
Something's wrong. I will say this, right? The Cougar Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
my guy.
Looking for Donna Kelsey.
If you're a Kelsey man, hide the women and children,
Yeah.
because Mr. Wilson's out on the prowl.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I agree completely with everything you just said. And on top of that, right, Wilson played a better game than Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
You ready
He
for
did.
this? Mahomes, 18 of 30, 203 yards, 1 tutty, and 2 mistakes.
Yep.
Zach Wilson, 28 of 39, so he's one pass better than
Yep.
him there.
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see.
245 yards, he's 42 yards better. And 2 tutties, he's a tutty better.
Yeah.
And
2 mistakes less.
2 mistakes less. That's what you want. Now, and to touch on that last bit, game on the line, last drive, he's making a push. Okay, yeah, he should have looked down. Whatever. My opinion, he's trying to win the game. He's checking the field. He's looking at everything. He's got the play in his head. He's ready to beat Mahomes right now.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your worst mistake that you got on the kid, well, that's a good fucking problem to have. Now,
Yeah.
granted, it cost you the win. Well, there's other plays during the middle of the game.
Right.
But ultimately, this is what ended it. And I think this is. I mean, if you're a Jets fan, it's like all of a sudden it's like, hold on,
Yeah, let's not sell it yet.
maybe we got hope.
And that's against a really good Chiefs defense.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just want to say, so far, Dak has played the Jets defense the best, but yet he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. So, you know.
And I don't understand all.
Suck it, Espen.
I don't understand all the love that Mahomes continuously gets. Now, granted, I understand what he's done for the game of football. I understand what he's done in his career, but why aren't we holding him to the same standards as everybody else, right?
Right.
When he makes mistakes, when he does this, when he does that, they deserve to lose that game last night.
Yep.
What are we talking about? Why are we still talking about, oh, here's a guy,
Yeah.
and
And he's had a rough start to this year. They always do.
They
They
always
always
do,
have a
yeah.
slow start, but Patrick Mahomes normally doesn't look like this.
No.
They look very beatable.
sluggish is the best way I could put it out.
Yeah, and I mean they look beatable. That's all I got for you. Well, I am taking the Seahawks tonight.
Yep, Seahawks are traveling to the Big Apple, or more like Jersey.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you they're not staying in Jersey.
No.
Seattle is favored 2.5.
Yep, I'm taking those points. Daniel Jones is 1-12 in primetime games. The new Kirk. 1-6, 1-12, something like that.
He's just not having a good year at all.
No.
63 of 97, 562 yards, 2 tutties, and 4 picks.
And Saquon is still out.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Seattle at 4.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. Make our money back from Travis Kelce not getting a 22-yard
Yeah,
reception.
he was not feeling 22 if
Mother-
you have DraftKings.
Motherfucker.
So, anyways, great Monday show.
Yep.
Good luck the rest of the week. We'll be back at the end of the week to talk about not only Thursday, and this upcoming week
We
of
got
football.
baseball. We got baseball. Lots of baseball.
We got lots of baseball.
We'll give our predictions, and we're going to be right because the Braves are winning it all. Shocker.
I mean, yeah.
Shocker.
It's really hard to go against them right now. But actually, let's for tomorrow, because this is the second. Tomorrow, we've got the Rangers and the Rays in Tampa. We've got Toronto going to Minnesota. We've got Arizona going to Milwaukee, and Miami going to Philly. So really quick, what's your predictions?
I got Rays, and it's 3-game series, correct?
Yes.
I got Rays winning it in 4 games. Or no, it's a 3-game set. So
2.
so
The sweep,
No, so it'd be 3.
2-1.
Yeah, 2-1. I got the Blue Jays beating the Twins 2-1. I got the Diamondbacks sweeping the Brewers. That's my sweep. And I think Philly wins the first one, and they feel hot. And I think they're going to win by a big margin. I'm talking like 8 runs. And then all of a sudden, the Marlins are going to come to play.
Mm.
And then I got the Marlins beating the Phillies. That's my
Ooh.
upset. That is my
Ooh.
upset. I
Okay.
want one upset.
Okay. So just so
I
got
guess
this.
that's 2 upsets because the Diamondbacks are a wild card to the division winner Brewers.
So you got Rays in 3, Jays in 3, D-backs in 2, and Phillies and Marlins in 3.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to mix it up.
I like it. But I'm gonna let you know I've got the Rays in 2.
Okay.
I've got the Jays in 2. In 3. I've got the Brewers in 2. And I've got the Phillies in 2.
A lot of sweeps, huh? Quick wild card round.
Yep.
I just want to see the Phillies lose. Fuck Philly, dude.
So, we'll be back to discuss more baseball. I sure as hell want to address that abysmal fucking season of the Padres, so we will address that. More to you at the end of the week, man. I'm excited. It's a lot of sports to talk about.
Hey, we talked our shit.
Have a good week.